Hello friends! This week's project is a needle book, also called a needle wallet. For the outside material, I have chosen a corduroy. I like it because it's stiff and it's also soft. I think it's going to create a really durable outside material for the book. And I just love the feel of it. I think it's just soft, and I think it's just going to be a wonderful thing to carry around for trips. And for the inner material, I've chosen flannel. Both the corduroy and the flannel are both measured 5 by 8 inches. There are 2 pieces of the corduroy and 1 piece of the flannel. And for the leaves, I cut out 4 pieces. Originally they were 4 by 6 inches, and then as I was making it, I realized they just weren't big enough. So they are actually 4.5 by 7 inches. And this project also includes a pocket. The actual pocket is 4 by 5 inches. And I'm also including a flap for the pocket, which is 3 by 4 inches. For closures, I am using buttons. I've chosen a red button for the pocket and a black button for the outside. And to secure the closures, I will be using elastic. I'm using some rounded elastic. I originally thought I would use 2 pieces of 3 inches each, but as I was putting it together, I realized the outer enclosure really needed something just a little bit longer. So the outer elastic is 6 inches and the pocket's elastic is 3 inches. I've put the 2 pieces of the corduroy fabric together with the right sides together. And what I'm going to do now is actually add in this flannel piece of fabric as well. So I'll be sewing three pieces together. And originally what I was thinking was that I would sew all the way around and then leave about 2 inches. But because this is corduroy and it's really kind of little bit firm, because I wanna sew all the way around, and then I wanna actually turn them inside out. And the corduroy, as I've been working with it, it seems like it's not that flexible. So I think what I'm going to do is leave an opening about 3 inches, just to give myself plenty of leeway with the firmness of the fabric. And the stitch that I'm going to be doing all the way around, I marked off 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to be doing a double stitch. I think that the double stitch is a little more secure. When you're doing hand sewing, that's going to be in a straight line. So that's my reason for sticking with the double stitch. Now that I've done a double stitch all the way around the edges of the fabric and left 3 inches opening right here, what I did next is I took some scissors and rounded the edges and trimmed off some extra fabric. And what I'm going to do now is turn it inside out. I'm grabbing the right sides of both the corduroy and the flannel. And this is a little bit tricky because the flannel is a very stiff kind of fabric. And you just have to kind of work with it until it kind of gives way and lets you pop out the corners. And what I'm going to be using is just a pen. And all I'm trying to do is get the edges to pop out. Trying to be very, very careful with the stitching as I'm doing this. And I think it's working out reasonably well. I will probably take an iron just to make sure everything is smooth. And this is going to be the inside and this is going to be the outside. So I think it's looking pretty well. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do another double stitch all the way around. Leaving about a 1/4 inch seam, just to make sure everything is flat and it's not gonna curl up. And after that, I will be ready to start working on the leaves of the book. I have finished the double stitch all the way around, and I've added in a piece of elastic. When I started putting in the elastic, it was 3 inches long, and what I decided is that 3 inches was just going to make this book way too snug, especially when I'm adding in the 2 leaves for the inside and also the pocket. So this elastic turned out to be 6 inches long, and I think that's going to be a better choice. So it's not too snug, it's not going to create too much wear and tear on the seams or the elastic. So that's what I've done there. And next, what I'm working on is the leaves. I have put the 2 pieces of fabric with the right sides together. And what I'm going to do now is a basting stitch. I'm leaving about 2 inches for the opening, and I marked them with 2 pins just so I have a mental reminder to stop. And I use the red colored pins just as an extra reminder, like, hey, stop sewing, because it's really easy to just be in the sewing mode and just keep going. But I thought a little mental reminder would help me. So the basting stitch is just a really quick, easy stitch. And I like this method for doing the basting stitch just because it keeps you in a straight line. I have marked the 1/4 of an inch for the just pulling it all the way in there. I marked 1/4 of an inch to kind of keep me in a straight line, but I've also I'm using this tailor's chalk, and this is the first time I've used this tailor's chalk, and I really love it. It comes in a few different colors, and the color that I'm using for this one is the peach or the pink, and it shows up a lot better. What I've noticed is that my previous method for drawing lines was this marking pencil, and it did not show up at all. So I am here to sing the praises of tailor's chalk. It is well worth the money to use. So what I'm gonna do is continue with this basting stitch all along the edges here. And when I get to this part, what I'm going to do is just turn it inside out. And I've already done one of the other leaves, and this is what it looks like when it's done. So after I turned it inside out, I did a double stitch all the way around. Usually I use the double stitch for extra security to create a really nice and sturdy stitch. But in this situation, I really didn't need the sturdiness, but I just really liked the effect. It creates a really nice seam, and you don't actually see the individual stitches. So that's why I have chosen to do that. So I will finish up with this this other leaf, and then I'll be ready to work on the pocket. Okay, now that the leaves were prepared, what I did is I sewed the two leaves together with a double stitch right down the center, and then I affixed them to the book with a whip stitch on one side, and then I did the other side just to make sure they were really secure. And next was the buttons. I sewed a button onto the top here, and I wanted the elastic to be a little bit loose. I didn't want it to be so snug that it was going to put pressure and maybe pull at the seams a little bit too much. My thought is, as I put things into the book, like needles and pins, and I'm also going to have a pocket for the scissors, I'm feeling like the book might get a little more bunchy and put a little more pressure on it. So that was my thought for that. And the final piece is the pocket for the scissors. I've sewed the button onto the pocket, and I also have the top flap, which has some elastic, and I just sewed the elastic on with the whip stitch. And I've also for the hemming for the pocket itself, what I did is I just kind of laid it into the book and kind of made the seams as small as they need to be so it'll fit in here, since I'm working in a very small area. I didn't actually measure, I just kind of guesstimated and started sewing up that way, just so the pocket can be as large as it can be within the space. So what I'm going to do next is a whip stitch. I will be whip stitching all along the edges here, and after that is done, I will be doing a whip stitch on the top here, and then I think I'll also flip it around and do another whip stitch just to make sure that it is secure.